good morning to you. It is U.S. Fleet Tracking's every other Friday rite of passage, GPS Tracking Academy. And real glad from wherever around the country you are that you're with us today. As you know, GPS Tracking Academy takes you through U.S. Fleet Tracking's entire system and can hopefully make a very interactive Friday for you, because you can chat in any questions you might have about what we're talking about what's coming. This is a service for our customers, our prospective clients, to help you feel more comfortable and to learn about all of the possible assets you have with U.S. Fleet Tracking System. First time aboard, Drew Cashin, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and hopefully I can show people the system and the features that'll make sense for them.
I'm Mark Bravo. Drew is today's resident expert, sales service specialist. Drew has been with U.S. Fleet Tracking, and now he's on the big screen. He'll be transporting his knowledge to you. We've got Brian and Sam on chat, and Edwin running the board, doing the important stuff. So again, welcome to U.S. Fleet Tracking. Remember, today's show, about an hour long, will be followed 1 hour later by our drill down show. And today's drill down, we always take one particular topic and go a lot deeper, because of course we can't go infinitely deep into everything on the system today. But in the drill down, we go deeper. Today it's dispatch and routing, staying on track with dispatch and routing, how to raise your game in that ballpark. A few reminders, kind of the pregame to GPS Tracking Academy. We urge you, if ever you feel the need, the desire to reach our tech support staff. We are very proud of live tech support here at U.S. Fleet Tracking. That team available 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. That's Central Time. And on Saturdays, live support 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central. The phone number, as you see, 405-726-9900. If you would like to archive, see the archives, any of our shows, our instructional videos, you can go to simply youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking and pull up any of our library to watch on your own schedule, anytime you want to. Please remember, we appreciate your liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter. A great way to see what's going on inside U.S. Fleet Tracking, what's up and coming, besides calling tech support. Our social media, the guys keep it very active, and we would love for you to come aboard if you haven't already. The surveys that you will receive are another great way that we know what you're thinking, what you want, what you like, what you don't as much like about what we're presenting, maybe ideas you can bring to the table. We often at U.S. Fleet Tracking have adopted customers' desires, whether for features or other changes.
It's one of the great things about having our own development team in-house, is that when a customer has a request, we can integrate that request, and you know the product is constantly evolving and meeting the customer needs, and as new technologies become available, new ways of doing things, you know, we have the flexibility that we can do that.
And many of you who have been aboard a while to that point know the system has changed a fair amount over the last 12, 18 months, and we continue to raise its game. So any suggestions we're welcome to hear. Again, tech support always there, those hours for your convenience. You can chat in during work hours to our live chat, and you will, those same hours, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. And if you'd rather not pick up the phone chatting, you can carry on the conversation with our big-time tech support team, and just find innumerable ways to enhance your use of our live GPS system. And from there, it's really a matter of your digging in, and that's why GPS Tracking Academy comes to you. Often it's thought of as location-based, the GPS system, but there is so much more, and that's what we'll be going into today as well. So without further ado, we'll get to the resident expert. And Drew, I'll tell you what, before we go to the desktop system, obviously the mobile application becomes more valuable weekly, and U.S. Fleet Tracking is ready for you along all platform lines we integrate. And you've got the mobile pulled up. Let's go to it.
I do. You know, one of the great things about us is that there's no app to download. It's all based on the web, the mobile version of the web. So right here, you've got your basic interface. When you pull it up, you can see your map. You can go to, you can see all your devices, see where they are. Our demo account here is a limousine company here in Houston, Texas. And so if we want, we can zoom in here. We can check in on a vehicle.
So usfleettracking.com on your tablet, on your cell phone will get you right here.
That's right. And so we can find out some more information if we want. If we want to look at Con here, we have our buttons here at the bottom to look at our map view or devices or our settings. We'll go to devices. Go back to the thing.
And quickly, that Remember Me you see is very valuable. A lot of clients have told you, right, that by clicking the Remember Me, you don't have to log in each time if you're breaking away a lot through the day.
Just 1 second. It signed us out of the system here. Just a moment.
All right. Well, and we'll keep Remember Me clicked when you are
That's
signed
right.
on.
Apologies, Drew's first show, and so
we're in business.
yeah.
There you have
Okay,
it.
so we're signing here, and here we can see this is a Con. This is what we have labeled the device here. We can check on 10 Con. We can get the information we want from him.
And there's your entire color commentary on that device.
That's right. We can see he's velocity 0. His ignition is on. He's, as of the last time he moved, the last time the device sent an update, all the information there that we want to see for him. And let's see if we can find someone else that's moving.
Very good. As you do that, that GPS satellites number that you see there, we like to remind folks that that number should always be at 4 or above. And you had 11, so you were sailing just fine. If it's not 4, it might be a placement issue. You can always call tech support or just slightly maneuver the placement.
Right. And you can see here it categorizes the vehicles as to which ones are moving, which ones are idling. And these are vehicles that have the ignition is on. And so we can look at Mo here, whose last reported his position there on the highway as he pulled off. But it's a great way to see the to get the snapshot of where your guys are, what's going on right now, the live location right there on your mobile device.
And again, who's moving, who's idle, who's dormant. You get the quick view, and that's a good point. You say the snapshot view. As you become more familiar with the system, you'll have your go-tos where you can take a quick look, and you don't have to spend the day with the system at all. It becomes, as we like to say, another employee working for you.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way to to trust but verify that your employees and everything is going smoothly.
There you are. The accountability is great. It can also breed that teamwork, that camaraderie concept. They can show you they're doing it right.
Exactly.
So now what you might want to do here is go to a few of the features that it has. We have traffic on the mobile.
Yeah, you can see, let's look at in our settings here.
There you go.
We can turn the traffic on if we want to see the traffic labels. And that way we can see where the trouble spot is right here. We can alert the guys to avoid those areas where there's I'm sure downtown is always going to be congested.
In Houston, you
Yeah.
betcha. Especially this weekend. You
Right.
folks who are near there in Final Four territory and our Oklahoma City Thunder in town Sunday, you've got a lot going on in town.
If we want, we can turn off the labels, and if we want to see the satellite view instead of the map view, if we want to see the terrain, we can do that. You have all that flexibility there in the system.
And to your point about the traffic, it even indicates, you saw a few red lines there, which was traffic stopped, but it will even drill down into which direction that blocked lane is going, because it might be that your mobile team is going the other direction and you can keep them proceeding, but it also gives you a chance to make a decision on the fly if you've got to reroute them or send them on different plans.
And as you can see, we use Google Maps for the underlying data input there, and so it's a real familiar system that a lot of people are familiar with. And so we have their strength, and combined with our flexibility, gives us some really good solutions for our partners.
Very good. On the mobile, when you go back to those features once again, you've got the labels and alerts that you can delineate, as you can on desktop, if you've got different teams doing different things and you don't want to communicate with all of them at once, you've got that ability to quickly see. If you've got your HVAC AC guys one place, you've got your road guys other places, just more seamless communication is what we're after, and more peace of mind, as Drew mentioned, that your teams are doing what they're supposed to be doing and getting it done efficiently. Very good. Once again, the high points on mobile. Every platform that operates, you can use US Fleet Tracking Mobile with.
Yeah, from your cell phone, your tablet,
Android.
anywhere you've got an internet connection, you can see your system.
Very good. All right, are we ready for desktop?
I think so. We can switch to that.
Very good, and you'll sign on same way, and immediately your first prompt after live chat, which you always have available during our office hours, you go to map control.
Yeah. We'll go.
And this shows you some of the settings at your beck and call. For instance, you've got the satellite view on now, right?
Yeah, yeah. We've got the satellite view. If we want to switch back to the road view, like we saw on the mobile, sometimes people find that easier to do. You can toggle that on and off right there.
As a sales support specialist, pardon me, do you have a preference?
A lot of times, the satellite it can sometimes be bothersome, and if you've got someone, an out-of-state sales rep in an area you don't know, it's great to say, oh no, you can avoid that area. It looks like there's a big national park there, or that's where the downtown is. But for most people operating in the city that they know, they're perfectly fine to use just the map view. But again, it comes down to whichever the person prefers.
Okay. So, like we say, go ahead and get your hands dirty with the system, in effect. You can't really corrupt the data. If you get to a place, worst case scenario, you can back out of it, refresh. So
Yeah.
that is the way, as we know that we largely learn what works best for us and our own strengths and weaknesses by drilling in, whether you have your dispatch or your admin or as a principal, anyone on the system. Best case is to play with it. You've got our tech support, and you'll not only be much more efficient with it, but you'll learn what you need, what you don't need, and it'll be a quick process through the system. As much fun and as comprehensive as it can be, you largely want it to save you time and be able to get on and off.
Right. The point is, the end point is, what are my guys doing? How can it help me, be more efficient? How can I make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and be efficient and profitable, so that way we're not having any waste.
The fences, those are your geo fences.
Yeah.
You can get a quick view of what you have set there.
Yeah, if you want real quickly, we'll just go through these map control deals. The fences feature, that's an alert you can create. You can designate an area of the map. If we can, let's go and let's switch back to that screen so the people can see it. Here's a fence we created on the airport. This is called a geofence, and we can turn that visibility on or off on the map. We'll get more into that a little bit later, I think, when we get to the alerts.
And the different shapes you can create in whatever size, large or small. Very good.
As you can see, it's a polygon shape. This is a shape we can totally manipulate. But you can turn that on or off. You have other options here. We'll go real quick through the map control options. Flags, which I don't think this account. Oh, that's your. They've got that for the device labels.
Mm-hmm.
Your alerts, which the way that works here on the map control, there's a thing called a PTO sensor alert, which will show these. This account doesn't have it, but it'll show like a red and blue ring, like a police siren almost, if your PTO is going off. And that's where you would turn that visibility on or off. Again, we've got the traffic, just like we did on the mobile. And then also you have the weather. If you want to, you can see where the weather is.
And I'll tell you just a bit about US Fleet Tracking's live weather overlay. You get everything updated live, even to looping, where you can see direction of weather. And so this is very vital, not just for what's happening at this moment, but what's coming. As you know, a lot of your business needs have to do with pre-planning, not just immediacy. And you're laying concrete tomorrow, and it's a 100% chance of a thunderstorm, maybe you divert that team to another job. So not only don't you have to redo the job, but you don't have that team traveling there needlessly and maybe in harm's way. It can do multifaceted benefits for you. And how about checking that radar loop? There
Yeah.
you go. Our weather overlay, very comprehensive. It's
And
been
you
a
can-
big plus.
Yeah, and you can see here in the top right, you've got the timestamps of when that's going through. So this is showing back to, the last hour of weather essentially, to see what's going through the systems. Many of our customers are the vehicles are outdoor work vehicles, construction, oil field, energy, all sorts of. The weather's very important, and that's something that was requested, and it's something that we added. Again, the flexibility of our development team.
And with the National Weather Service link up, you know you're getting the most accurate at your beck and call.
Yeah. So that's the map control part of the map system. Did you want to talk about we talked about the live? Did we talk about the live chat?
Sure, give them just a moment on that.
Sure. The live chat. This is our. This goes right here to our tech support guys. Here, we're right here in our corporate office here in Oklahoma City.
And gives you the reminder up top of the hours
Shows-
that they are there.
Yep, 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, Saturdays 9 to 4 Central Standard. And you can type right here. You can ask them the questions. And since you've already logged into the system, they know that it's you. You're verified. Whatever problems you're having, you can talk right there with the live person there.
Sometimes you just don't want to pick up the phone and make a phone call, and you want to be able to multitask, triple task, and
Sure.
this allows you to do so and carry on
Right.
the conversation that way. Very good.
So that's our live chat, and then we have the. You just want to go?
You
just
betcha.
list through all
Let's go
these?
device management.
Sure.
Offers an awful lot between grouping and particular drivers and the maintenance
Real
module.
quick, I'm just going to turn the weather off real quick. Okay, so by default, when you sign in, you're going to see all of your devices. But if you want to focus on just one, you can do that here. You've got a drop down. Let's see here. You've got a drop down where you can pick individually which device you want to look at. And it look like, who's this over here? Sprinter. If we want to look at just Sprinter, we'll find Sprinter on the list. And that way all the other ones disappear. It makes it a little bit easier if you want to just focus on him. And then you can also, if we go back, we'll look at all devices. If you want, you can look at the devices by status. Which ones are moving? Which ones are idling? Which ones are stopped? And the difference there being, idling is where the ignition state is reading as on, but the car is not
But
moving.
no action.
Right. And
You've
that's
even got ignition on and off.
yeah, because the devices use that ignition state, we know whether the device is idling, which is when we get down to the alerts, we'll show you how that can help save the company money to make sure the guys aren't being wasteful in the truck.
Yes, you'll be able to articulate as in-depth or as generalized as you want
Sure.
to.
So that's how you would pick the visibility on the devices. And then if you want a list of your devices, there's a blue button here, which shows you the serial number of the device, the name that you've specified for the device, and then the last time that it sent its location update. So that's what's going on there.
And that quick overview shows you that Unit 11 hasn't updated since March 18th, pretty
Right.
dormant. You've got March 25th, and then you've got a list of
And-
characters
and-
from today.
And a lot of times that can be pretty typical. If it's on a piece of heavy equipment, machinery, that doesn't move very often, that's not atypical for a device to not have moved for a week or so. And real quickly, just going back to the, just something you'll see on a lot of these windows is this little blue question mark up here.
That's
I
a very
mean,
good point, Drew.
The system's real user intuitive. You guys know what an X and to minimize and to close. But this blue question mark here, if you ever click that, plays a contextual video that demonstrates that part of the system and goes a little bit more into depth with it. So if you ever get stuck in a part, and you see this, that'll help you show you what you're looking at.
And the blue circle question mark, those tutorials dot the entire system.
Yeah.
So whether you're talking about reports and you just wonder how something works, maybe the tutorial will clear it up without a phone call. Largely they're 90 seconds or so.
Exactly, yeah.
Very succinct.
If we'll switch back to the screen real quick, you can see they're contextual. This one would play about the device editor. This one here would play about map control. This one down here would play about the addresses. So it's a real neat system that we have. But just to finish out device management, that's where you would see your list of devices, your device groups. You can group your devices if you want into user-defined groups that you specify. And then we have a driver editor, maintenance. You can see which ones, for your maintenance alerts. We'll go back to that real quick.
And the driver editor and the abilities that you grant to drive certain vehicles can be a great way to keep up with your team, know how to quickly reach them and where they are.
Yeah. Do we want to go down to the report system now?
One thing about maintenance on device maintenance, you are able, and of course on alerts we'll go into maintenance some,
Sure.
but that maintenance module, what we find, I don't know about you, Drew, but many of our folks have found that you get tied up in certain minutiae and you don't realize some of the features. And once they have implemented maintenance, the ability to safeguard your company from getting behind on maintenance.
Well, yeah, that's one of the great things. If you're managing a fleet of 80 vehicles, the satellite system, we know how far each device has gone. We know you can run a mileage report. And so you can specify for, down to the device, after X number of miles, alert me to rotate the tires, alert me to change the oil. Whatever maintenance alert you want to create, you can do that.
And they can stay for posterity's sake, or they can be a one-time thing. And we'll run through a quick alert, in alerts, a quick maintenance setup.
Do you want to do the alerts first or the reports?
I'm sorry, later on alerts, let's
Okay.
do reports indeed. And
Sure.
Yeah, the maintenance can really value add to your company. I know that 2 cars in my family, it's a job keeping up with maintenance. So if you've got a fleet of 50, 100, 200,
So this is our list of reports that you can run. Aggressive driving report, which will tell you if there's any hard braking or acceleration. The devices have a what's the word, the telemeter device in there to measure the G-forces and everything, and they can tell, it's stopped too hard here, or it's accelerated between these two update intervals. It's gone from 0 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour.
right, too quick an acceleration
Right.
or deceleration. That's the aggressive driving, and can maybe give you a heads up to where a conversation maybe needs to be
Sure.
generated.
Excessive idling, if they've got the car on and they're sitting there doing nothing for a long time, you can run that report. Again, we talked about the PTO sensor, which some of the companies use they wire that when they do the install to see when the siren was turned on or when the load was dumped. It's actually an input on the device that goes back to the system and can report to you here. A speeding report, where you can see who went above 80 miles an hour.
Completely authored by you. You can set that figure at 75, at 80,
Yep.
and so on.
Start-stop report, summarize everywhere the vehicle stopped for more than X minutes, hours, seconds, whatever you specify.
Start-stop report, one of the most frequently used reports we have.
Absolutely. This will tell you, this will give you, basically, and we'll take a look at one real quick. We'll look at Sprinter was moving earlier today, so we'll pick on Sprinter. We'll look at from yesterday to today, and we're going to base it on his ignition state, on when the car was turned off. And so we'll just look at that one real quick, just to show you guys real quick what the report looks like. So it looks like right now he's been driving. He's made 5 total stops. We'll go to the details. So it shows you right here, last night at midnight, he was stopped for 9 hours. And then at 9:27 this morning, he drove 76 miles for 4 hours and 23 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Reached the top speed. Shows you this. So right here, he's driving. Here he stopped. He stopped at the address. There he drove again for another 12 minutes. He stopped at this address. It's a really great system to see where did your guys go and what were they doing.
You can have as little or as much commentary there as you want on
Sure.
that particular device.
Yep. And you can view it online if you just want to look at it and just to check in, or if you want to save this information, you can click, you can download there, and it'll save it to you as I believe as a CSV file which you can open in Excel or whatever spreadsheet program of your choice.
When you don't necessarily want to look at it now, but you want to have it saved.
Right.
Okay.
So some of the other reports, the geofence activity report, which we showed you guys that geofence earlier. that we put on the airport, the geofence activity, you specify a date range, and it will summarize the entries and exits and durations of the vehicles going in there.
Very good.
Trip detail report, which is more of it's a more detailed version of every activity from the device. Again, the PTO summary, when was the PTO input activated, trip distance report, we've got mileage reports, summary reports, we've got a lot of them there. And the great thing about them is that you can also, once you run the report, you can schedule it to recur. So if you want to run a device mileage by state, for you want to do your Department of Transportation reporting, you can set that up to run on the first of every month, and that way you don't have to think about it. It'll run automatically and then emailed right to your email. So that's the report system in a basic overview. Did you want to get into more detail on that, or you want to go on to one of the other?
That will be good for reports, and we'll have a drill down show in the next few weeks on reports where we go in depth. Do you have any particular questions? Of course, always bring them on.
Great.
And I'll tell you what, before we head to alerts and dispatch and routing and more, we've got historical playback, a lot of features. Let's take a break, give you a chance to fill your coffee up, get comfortable. We appreciate your being with us on GPS Tracking Academy, and Drew and I will return along with the rest of the team on the other side of this break. Alrighty, thanks for coming back. We are now headed to alerts, and we remind you, any questions, any particular comments you have, chat them on in. We've got an active chat room. Bring them on. We will address it. Brian will carry on the conversation. It's a very interactive show. So
Absolutely.
alerts, Drew, a lot of value add to alerts.
Right, so we showed you guys the live location, the live tracking where you guys are now. We looked at the reports where you can see sort of the past, and now we can go to the alerts where you get sort of things as they happen. You've got, we split this into two categories, your contacts and your alerts, because it's important that you have a list of contacts so that way it knows who to create, who to contact when you create your alerts. So the first thing, we set this username up today, so there aren't any contacts in it, and we'll just real briefly, we'll go here, we'll create one just to demonstrate
Very good.
real quick. This will be the name we pick from the drop-down. We'll pick the email address, and these will all be a checkbox later on in the alert, whether you use them or not. I'll just use the main number here for the company for the deal. Important to pick the carrier on your when you do the SMS line, so that way it knows how to format the text messages. The phone line here is actually just informational. That way when you look up your contact, you know who it is, because sometimes there's a work cell phone which is different than a personal phone, or there's an office phone. The system in its automation will only use the SMS line for the text messaging.
But you've kind of got a built-in Rolodex there with the phone.
Essentially.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll save it. So there's our contacts. Now when we go back to the alert system, and by the way, you guys maybe have noticed sometimes the menus will close the main menu to make it go away for added visibility. If it ever does, you just click on this globe in the lower left corner to bring it back up. So the alerts, and then we'll go to our alerts. This is the alert we created earlier today for the airport. We'll click on that. That way we can look at that. This is the geofence alert that we created for the airport. And here now we can add a recipient. And now we can see the contact that I created. We created Drew, and what do we want to do? Do we want to email Drew, or do we want to send him a text message, either or both? And then you can add additional recipients if you have them. Down here, you've got the options for the geofence. What time of day is it on? You can specify the color of the geofence. If you want to color code it and make it a different color, you can do that.
And you obviously set it for the whole day, 12 a.m. to 11:15.
Right. Yeah, by default, it's on all day, every day.
Okay.
And
Enter and exit.
enter and exit. Let you know when the device goes in, when the device goes out.
And would you give a quick illustration of how to change the dimension of that
Sure, absolutely.
polygonal geofence?
Whenever you create the geofence, it'll start as a rectangle, and when it does, it's got the white dots here on the vertices, and then if you see, there's a little grayed out dot right there that's halfway. You can click on that, and you can drag that in or out to manipulate that shape. So you can create the geofence whatever you want to do. We had a customer, for example, he did one on the exact contours of the lake down at his lake house, so that way he'd know if his boat ever left the lake.
Yes.
But,
and you can literally lay one geofence over another.
Absolutely.
You can create them as large as multiple states.
Exactly.
No
yeah.
limitations there.
There really isn't. So real quick, we'll just go back to the screen so they can see the other options here. You can also just designate whether or not that has a speed limit. So if you want to put it on the school zone around, that's around the corner from the shop to make sure the guys aren't flying through there and, with the company name on the truck making you guys look bad, you can put the speed limit alert right there to say and specify the speed there, and that way it'll send you the message if ever anyone violates that speed. So we'll save the options we made here, and real quick we'll go through the other alerts. Like I said, here's the default geofence. We have ignition alert to let you know when the ignition gets turned on. Idle alert if the idles for more than X minutes. Maintenance alert, again, warning at which condition. Notify me once every time the vehicle gets to so many hours of operation or so many miles.
You can literally articulate these to the nth degree. And
Yeah.
another thing, there are not limitations within your subscription to how many alerts, how many reports.
No,
An
that's the
important
great
thing to
thing.
remember. No no a la carte fees.
No, the system is the system. Whether you've got one device or 100, you know, the system is the same, no matter which model of device you've got. That way, it's all the same, you know, top to bottom there. So we'll go through the other ones. The panic alert, you know, the PTO alert, again, to tell you whether it's gets triggered. The power alert, you know, the device has a power reading. Many of the devices have a backup battery, which if they're tampered with, will switch to the backup battery, and this will tell you whether if there's any kind of tampering there. You know, some of our mobile devices, which run on just the batteries, also have a battery level. So you can put an alert on here. If the battery gets below 20% to let me know, so that way you know to go change it out.
And therefore, if there's any tamper, as you've said, you've got the battery backup to let you know you're still there and in action. That has been a great safety device for a lot of folks.
And then we'll go back to the screen to show them there's a radius alert, which is very similar to a geofence alert. It's, again, you know, it just does it as a circle instead of the polygon shape.
And you can set sizes there.
Exactly. You can do it right here. You can set the size. And again, does it have a speed limit? Does it have, you know, do I want to know when they go in, when they go out? So that's the radius alert. There's a route alert where we have a feature on our system where you can designate a route. And then if the vehicle goes more than 300 feet off of the route, it'll let you know whenever it goes within that or whenever it goes without of that. You know, many of the heavy machinery trucks, you know, they've got designated paths, certain bridges that they can't cross and that kind of thing. And so this is a good way to make sure everybody stays where they're supposed to. And then the last alert, or we've got two more. We've got a speed alert, you know, which is pretty self-explanatory. You know, whenever the device gets above 55 miles per hour, we're going to send a text message to Drew. And that's how you would create a speed alert. Oh, we have to give it a name that we designate here. So we'll call it over 55. And by default, it applies to all devices, but if you have one certain device or a group of devices that you want to apply that to, you can do that there. So we'll close this notification, we'll click Save.
You can make it as individual as you want to if you don't want the entire team
So that's
notified.
the speed alert. I think there was one more there, the timeout alert.
And quickly, just if you're wondering and new to the system, the alert modified successfully that Drew showed you there, the check mark in green lower right-hand corner. If you don't get that, you'll always get a prompt like some information missing. So you don't have to guess if you've successfully set alerts, set reports. It will tell you. It's very self-explanatory.
Yeah, you can see that right there on the screen. It tells you the last thing that you did, you know, sort of the activity that you just did. You modified that alert successfully. So again, the last alert type we have is called a timeout alert, which again applies to the geofence. Let's say, you know, they're going to a certain area, but they're only supposed to be in there for a designated amount of time, and over that amount of time, it would send you the alert. So that's the quick overview of the alert system.
And again, they go deeper. If you want to reach tech support, reach your sales staff. Kyler was telling me yesterday that what our customer base really likes is how hands-on we are. He says, I'll grab one of you in the hall walking by if there's a question that he's a little stumped. Yeah. Whether it be our national sales director or any of your team, we're all very willing to contribute to the answer and to satisfying you as customers. Very valuable.
Absolutely. And so do you want to go through these last couple features of the system here?
You betcha.
All right.
Now, dispatch and routing, we will have a drill down on. That's 1 o'clock Central Time, and if you've not registered, please do so.
Yeah, let's go back to the main screen so they can see that. Let's flip back to the screen on the camera.
And there's your...
So we did the alerts. Yeah, the dispatch and routing we're going to go to in the second part of the show today.
But obviously, just a very quick summary of why you might want to put our dispatch routing to work. It simply gives you an extra layer of handling your calls, an extra sophistication, right?
Sure, absolutely. You know, the fewer systems you've got to go through to get everything done, the better. You know, it's all about efficiency and saving time. So yeah, we'll get into the routing feature more later in the second part of the show, but you can create the routes and it's all there. Again, like I said, we'll touch on it more in the second part. And then the last couple parts of the system, we'll flip back to the screen so we can show them. There's addresses if you want to specify locations to have them be visible on your map. Just like you saw on the map, you saw the vehicle icons. If you want to create an address, you can do that.
And let's populate a few.
Sure, let's create one. And right now, see, it drops the flag right there on the map, and it'll do it right here. It gives us what our latitude and longitude is of this flag that we create right here. And let's go drag it over here in this neighborhood. So we'll just plop it right there in the neighborhood. And we'll call it a name. We'll call it North of Airport.
Okay.
And we're going to hit save. And now, on our list of addresses, there's our flag. And you can also designate those by address, and I believe you can, right here it'd give it to us by latitude and longitude, again using the underlying Google Maps technology, and using that technology it can approximate that address. We'll click find address.
That flag just gives you the quick
There we go.
view. Sometimes you only want the overview visually.
Right. So this is, 20,938 Neely Court there in Humble, Texas. So we'll save that.
And your address created
Yep.
and modified successfully.
And then I don't have the flags checked on my deal, so it's not showing up there. So now it should show up. Oh, the addresses, excuse me. The flags are the other.
All right.
So that's done. So that's the address feature of the system, which can be helpful to know. Okay, that's where the person's going. That's what's there. And again, this will show up as an icon on the map, along with let's see, all of the vehicles. See, there's our flag that we created, and all our vehicles. So this is our address there, North of Airport, McNeely. And if we want to edit that or delete it, we can do that there.
So right now you know who's in the vicinity, how many of your team members are in the vicinity, and you can decide from there a decision on the fly if you want to
Sure.
activate someone.
Right. We can see who's in proximity to that. Who's closest, who's furthest away. What's going on there. So we'll close these real quick, and then one of the most used features of the system here is the historical playback.
Now, historical playback goes into many realms of our GPS tracking system, doesn't it? Not just a
Absolutely.
matter of what went on, but in, of course, securing your equipment, your vehicles, your assets can be invaluable.
Right. Yeah. 90 days of history stored on the system, and which can be real helpful. So if you want to look at a device, like again, we saw that Sprinter was moving earlier. We can pick Sprinter, the vehicle. We can pick the day of the week that we want to look at, and then just like a VCR, or I guess that's older technology. I guess just like more like a DVD player, we'll say.
Or of my generation, you could say the cassette player, but we'll move right along.
Well, you want me to?
Just bring it a little more into vision.
Oh, okay,
there
sure.
we go, because you, of course, have Google Street View there,
Yeah.
which gives you an idea of the look of where you're showing.
I don't know why Google Street View is showing an interior photo
Interesting.
here of where he is, but I guess that maybe that's the place he stopped there for lunch. I'm not sure, but we'll go back to the controls here. We've picked April 1st, all day, and then we'll hit play, and now we can watch Sprinter go through his day. Which, if I remember this morning, he sat there for about 9 hours. So the next update.
Okay.
Well, by default, the vehicle, the device that he's using is one of our NT models, which when the ignition is off, I'll click play, should be updating every 30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes.
And so you'll see this timestamp here. Yep, 4:24, 4:54, 5:24. It'll do that, and then I think it was about 9 o'clock he started moving, if I remember right. And I'm just clicking the next update button right here. We're just going to click through his day, and you can see his little. Here, we can
You
turn
in
this
effect
off
get
if
the
we want.
vapor trail there and every stop he made.
Yep.
So it's very comprehensive.
Yeah, it's a real great way to see, and if you want to just say skip to the end of the time that's allotted, or of the time that's shown there, you can see there's his trail of everywhere he's gone today. You know what? Let me turn off the traffic so you
There
can
you
see that a
go.
little bit better. So you can see, Sprinter's had a busy day, and we'll go back to the playback. And this is a little playhead here. You can scrub through here.
Right, bring it back. Sometimes all you want to know is how active they've been.
Sure.
So historical playback works great, and you've got great retroactive
Right.
coverage. If you need to, if someone claims that you had a company vehicle that threw a rock, broke their plate glass,
Yeah.
their
So,
your
yeah,
windshield at noon.
Yeah, your big
roughly
Sprinter
noon.
truck. He cut me off in traffic at 10:30 this morning. Oh well, let me let's look at the screen here. We're using the historical playback. We can look back right here at that 10:30 time period. Let's see. Of course, well, I said 10:30. I think he was stopped at that time. There's 10:22.
There you are.
You say, well, he was downtown, and you said he was up there by the mall or whatever. So
And you can play that entire
right. So something's
play-by-play for
right.
them, and maybe it was simply a truck. You want to do what's right, but maybe it was a truck with a similar company name, but not exactly yours.
Sure. And again, the system gives you the accountability, and it cuts both ways of, are my guys doing what they're supposed to be doing? And also, yes, my guys were doing what they're supposed to be doing. And look, I've got the proof for it. He was downtown. He wasn't over there by the mall. There's no way that he cut you off in the traffic or whatever it is.
And I'll tell you what this can also lend. We mentioned it briefly earlier, a sense of camaraderie. Your team members, they can prove, as we said, that they're doing things right. And who knows, if you want to generate a contest of sorts, it sometimes breeds not only excitement, but teamwork, but also extra production. And maybe it's a lunch a month to that one who has the cleanest record of no
Sure.
reports, no alerts triggered, however you want to do it.
Right.
As you said, it cuts both ways. It's sometimes about the carrot and not the stick.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I said, it protects you both ways. To say this is my guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing, or maybe you find an employee who's doing something they're not supposed to be doing. The system can help you discover that, and it can also help you protect yourself if somebody accuses your guys of doing something. Because when you've got even a small business, you can't be everywhere every time. It's all about the trust you place in your employees, and this is a great way to further that.
All right, and with historical playback, again, often invaluable in terms of the inevitable, maybe a vehicle, some assets come up missing, and say with battery backup, the perpetrators think they've cut the wires.
Sure.
They think they're home free,
Yeah.
and they have many times been surprised by the authorities. We can look online as it happens.
Well, and we have law enforcement agencies. They use
Absolutely.
our PTV3 Pro device as on their bait vehicles. They'll put it on the vehicle to see, on a bait trailer to see where it goes. We had one police department. Depending on how you do the installation of the device, it can be very simple, where all it does is read the ignition state, or you can have inputs and outputs where you can remotely kill the engine and unlock the doors.
Start the horns honking.
Right.
Whatever you choose.
It's
A
got some
slight
flexibility
extra
there.
level of installation, but if you have the particular devices, not much to it at all.
Absolutely, but yeah, there's absolutely anti-theft, loss prevention, aspect to the system of knowing where your device is, and there's a GPS tracking device on that. So if 9 Chris was stolen today, you can see, okay, well that's where it is. I can let the authorities know and find out, and they can to know where the device is going.
And with 10-second tracking, you are right there. You don't
Yep.
have to wonder what has changed since the last tracked.
Yeah. But yeah, by default, all the devices update their location every 10 seconds when they're moving, but every 5 seconds is also an option for an upgrade option. So that's the basic overview of the system. Do we want to?
Let's take it to search, and then we'll see if we've got any
Okay.
other questions. Our search has become a lot more comprehensive.
Sure. What do you want us to search
Oh,
for?
if you were to search for a tire company, maybe your guys get in trouble and they've blown a tire somewhere, and they're in
You know what?
parts of Houston
Down
they don't
in
know.
Houston, let's say the guy needs some gas. If I remember right,
There you
Houston's
go.
got Circle K. And here it'll show you,
You are
Circle
right.
K is the Houston version of the 7-Eleven, the corner gas station. So this will show you all the different ones, and as you highlight them over the map, you can click on it. It'll give you the address, give you the website for the the business there.
And even the color coding of gray and red and blue.
Yep. I think the difference there being
Open hours.
Right. This is one that is known to the system. This is one that's hours are unknown.
Okay.
But any of these we can click on.
And if you're not sure about if hours are unknown, you had that phone number, so you can make that quick call.
Yep.
It's a very, very complete way of searching. And if say you're stuck on the road, hopefully not, and waiting for service, you can pull up pizzas and have a pizza delivered. It'll tell you all the pizza joints within 10 miles that are open.
You don't have to be as specific. You can type in just a category for gas station. It can show you there.
Very good. And again, the color coding, gray is unknown hours, green is open, as you might know, self-explanatory, and red is closed. And that tells you quickly which you want to omit. So it gets you to the nuts and bolts without wondering what you're looking up, because often this is foreign territory.
Yeah, especially if you've got somebody who's low on gas and they need to know, okay, yeah, this one's open, but that one we don't know. So let's go to this one, the Shell station that we know is open. But again, there we searched by category instead of by name, just to show that you don't have to be as specific, to search for the exact business name. You can do it by the category.
Right. And how about trying pizza just for fun? I don't know if pizza's on my mind today.
Just pizza? I guess, is it lunchtime for you, Mark? I guess it is.
We must be getting there, Drew. And here you go. You'll be able to see distance from. You'll see, again, they're populating largely green. We're middle of the day. And right away your options.
Yep. I mean, it's a pretty good list of all these pizza places that it's listed, again, using the Google Maps underlying data.
Like many of our features, search has changed over the last months, and they continue to ramp up. So again, always, if you even want to know what's new with the system, social media is a great way. Our team keeps our social media presence very vibrant. You'll know what's going on. You can call tech support, find out what's new in the system the last month, and you'll be up to date in terms of anything else that might lend to your game. And again, your suggestions we always want to hear, either via the surveys or when you call in. You never know, as Drew said earlier, what might be adopted to work for you or along the entire system.
Yeah. And again, this is if you guys have any questions, chat them in. We're happy to answer those. I think we've touched on everything. Do we want to do some use case deals, or do you want to?
Let's give one case study in terms of how you might articulate an alert.
Okay. Let's see. Like we've got
setting a geofence. Anything?
Right. It looks like we've got a bunch of the vehicles right here. We've got a lot of the vehicles on the map right here. This must be the shop for the limousine company. So what we'll do is we're going to create an alert. We're going to create a geofence alert just on the shop. And again, I'm going to manipulate this shape a little bit to get in there.
Again, you can completely re-articulate that geofence as large as small, whatever shape.
Right. And you just don't want to make it too small, because again, the devices are sending a location update every either 10 or every 5 seconds. So if you put it, a very small one right on an intersection, it's possible that the device will pass right through. You want to make sure they're big enough to pick that up.
Okay.
So we're going to call this shop, or we'll call it home garage. And then I'm going to set this up as an anti-theft deal. I'm going to put only between the hours of midnight, and we're going to pick 6 a.m. So between midnight and 6 a.m., whenever these vehicles go in or out, I want to get that email and that text message.
You want to get them both. You can get one or the other or both. Okay.
I mean, this is a limousine company. They're probably busy all hours of the day. But if you were a plumbing company or a lawn care, any kind of 9 to 5.
It might adhere more to the 9 to 5 type.
Right.
Setup.
Where something moving between midnight and 6 a.m. would be very, very,
Very good.
suspicious. So there we've set that up, and we click save, and that's there. And if you want on the map, you don't even have to see it all the time. You can turn off your fences, and so that way it's not visible.
Very good. Okay. And again, we've got the drill down show coming up in an hour, which will be dispatch and routing. That's why we crossed over that. You've got a lot more features that you can call upon, whether it be changing the icons, the colors, to more easily identify what you've got in terms of your team out there, to segment your teams if you don't want all the information going everywhere.
Sure.
All righty.
Yeah, that's one of the other great, just real quick, one of the other great benefits of the system, unlimited logins, unlimited permissions. You can have a master account that sees all the vehicles. You can have a view-only account that just sees the ones in this region, and another account that sees the ones in this region. And so that way, the sub-users can only see the ones that they want to. There's a lot of flexibility there.
And one more reminder, in listening to our clientele over the past year, it has become that you can change login, change your password on your own, anytime, day or night, as opposed to having to call tech support.
Yeah.
You can do that. It's an easy process.
It's right there on the, if we can switch back to the screen just real quick. I know we're almost out of time. Brian, if we can switch back to the, right there's the gear symbol there on the top left, right there where we just clicked, and there we put in the old password, the new password, and then you're done.
And you're in business, don't need
Right.
any more assistance, don't need to make that phone call. Very good. And we're hearing from Addison, Texas. Great job on your first show, Drew. Many thanks. Well, thank you guys.
And just as a quick reminder to everybody that's new watching, again, I know we talked about a lot of things here. Look for that little blue question mark on the top taskbar, on the top bar of the menus. That it plays that video, which again is contextual, talks about that specific feature that you're looking at.
Might just get you where you need to go there in 60, 90 seconds.
It's a really great asset to be able to look at, that way, maybe after hours or whatever, that you can look at and see, okay, that's what it is. That reminds me, that's what it does.
There you go. Remember tech support, 405-726-9900. The hours Monday through Friday of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time.
7 to 7. Central
9 to
Standard
4
Time.
on Saturday, Central Standard Time. We've got live tech support. Remember, like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, social media. We're very active there. Appreciate you coming aboard, following us. Those surveys help us a lot. We do listen to you. If you want to see archived shows that we have or other instructionals, youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking. Great job, Drew. First time
Thank
out of
you.
the chute. We'll see you back in an hour. For Edwin, for Sam, and for Brian, we thank you for being with us today, and valued US Fleet Tracking customers. Have a great lunchtime. We'll see you in an hour. Thanks, folks.
All righty.